Hey there guys, how are you today and welcome to a brand new video. So today I'm going to be reviewing my F1 Fantasy League results for the Canadian Grand Prix of 2019. It was certainly a dramatic race, that's one thing for sure. Tell me in the comments down below, Vettel's penalty, right or wrong? Tell me down below. But let's have a reminder of the final race results. So, following Sebastian Vettel's penalty, Lewis Hamilton won the Grand Prix, Vettel in second, Leclerc in third, Bottas 4th, Verstappen 5th, Daniel Ricciardo in an impressive 6th, and Hülkenberg in 7th, so a good day for Renault. Gasly in a disappointing 8th, Stroll in 9th, good result for him, Kvyat 10th. Sainz 11th, Perez 12th, Giovinazzi 13th, Grosjean 14th, Raikkonen 15th, Russell 16th, Magnussen 17th after a difficult weekend for him, and Kubica in 18th, with Alexander Albon and Lando Norris both retiring from the Grand Prix. So, let's have a look at our fantasy league. So we're going to start with myself because I'm bottom of our league on 713 points. And for the weekend I got quite a disappointing 94 points. So I went for Hamilton, which is good because he started second and he was given the race win, so he won the race basically. I had Gasly as my turbo driver, not a good call there, because Gasly as a turbo driver got the same number of points as Ricciardo, who wasn't a turbo driver, meaning I should have put Ricciardo as a turbo driver and I would have scored higher, because Gasly had a poor weekend, only finishing in P8. Ricciardo had a really strong weekend, qualifying towards the front of the grid and finishing in the points. Raikkonen didn't have a particularly exciting weekend, and Norris, as we know, retired from the race on what was a pretty difficult day for McLaren. And as you can see, remember, Raikkonen only finished in 15th, and that sums it up. That's why Raikkonen only scored 4 points, but Norris retired, and Sainz was also out of the points. Now we're going to go to Robbie on 748 points. And he got 68 points this weekend, so a poor weekend for Robbie here. And we can see why. Because he went for Leclerc, he went for Verstappen, he had Raikkonen as a turbo driver. It's not the best option there. And you're so unlucky here. You know, you had Norris and Albon, the two drivers to retire from the race. You had them in the team. Now that is, to be fair to you, very unlucky. And I don't know what they would have got had they finished, but they both retired near the beginning of the race, I believe. So, you know, they weren't running, neither car was running very well. Anyway, so they wouldn't have scored many points, but it's very unlucky that you lost many points, because of Norris and Albon retiring. But Red Bull as a team did okay, although neither car got on the podium this weekend. Next up, we're going to go to Thomas F1, who's on 790 points, just a little bit ahead. And when it decided to load, yeah, he got 132 points. And we can see he went for Bottas, Verstappen, Kvyat, Sainz, Hamilton, and Toro Rosso. So far, this is probably the strongest team we've seen. So obviously, we know the two Mercedes boys had a good weekend. Bottas struggled a bit at first, but got a top 5 finish in the end, not too bad. But was beaten by Ferrari, both Ferraris actually. Verstappen, we know, again, wasn't really able to challenge for the podium like he has in other races this season, but did okay. Kvyat had a strong weekend, scoring a point in the Grand Prix, while it was a difficult weekend for Sainz and the whole McLaren team. Well, we know Hamilton had a pretty decent weekend, and he did crash in practice. And Toro Rosso really, though, had a bit of a mixed fortunes, I guess, with Kvyat scoring a point, but Albon retiring. But so far, both Mercedes drivers really makes this a half-decent team. And I believe you said that you were going to use your wildcard for this weekend. I would suggest you used it pretty well. Next up, we've got Kyle on 851 points. And he got 144 this weekend. That means he's blessed. He went for Sainz, Grosjean, Kvyat, Verstappen, and Bottas with Ferrari as a team. So obviously we're talking about Sainz as a turbo driver, not the best choice. Grosjean was a bit unlucky in the qualifying because he lost his fastest lap when his teammate Magnussen crashed. And we talked about Kvyat, Verstappen, and Bottas already. And Ferrari, obviously a good team to have in there. Got 2 cars on the podium. And let's be honest, my opinion, for what it's worth, and this is a good time to talk about it, I thought obviously Vettel did make the mistake by cutting the corner, but as we know, when you go on the grass, it's very difficult to control the rear of your car, and I think it was very difficult for him to avoid Hamilton, and therefore I think the penalty was slightly harsh, although his reaction, swapping the boards and having ranting and all that, was a little bit petty. But still, on here, Ferrari got 57 points. The next we go to Laurie on 863 points, so pretty close here between P2 and P3. And he got 153 points this weekend with Grosjean, Sainz, Kvyat, Perez, and Lewis Hamilton with Mercedes as a team. So we know Mercedes is the trick to doing really well this weekend, although in this game. But Mercedes didn't have quite as good a weekend as they have done in other races in 2019. And as for the other drivers, we know Perez didn't have a very good race, particularly in comparison to his teammate, while Grosjean and Sainz struggled in the midfield, while Kvyat kind of thrived, to be fair. And we know Hamilton on 45 points, that's always a pretty safe bet. And finally, we're going to go to Nickel, who's still way out in the lead on 993 points. And he got 113 points this weekend, so not the best actually. A few people got higher. And you went for Raikkonen, who struggled, Norris, who retired, Sainz, who struggled, and you actually went for Gasly and Bottas, who both, in comparison to their teammates, didn't have very good weekends. And Ferrari as a team obviously giving you a solid 57 points. So maybe not the best weekend there for you, but at the end of the day, you are still a lot better off in the overall league, showing your dominance so far this season. So there you go, guys. That was my F1 Fantasy League for the 2019 Canadian Grand Prix. Hope you enjoyed the video. Tell me what changes you're going to make before the next Grand Prix, the French Grand Prix, in a couple of weeks, in the end of next week. And for now, guys, I will see you guys next time.